My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Fleabag Season 2, and I just love it when you watch a show and it's just freaking great. I love it. I've watched a lot of bad shows recently, and man, this is just a refreshing change of pace. Absolutely. It takes everything that I love about the first season and just gives you more of it and fleshes everything out even further. The relationship between the two main sisters just feels more developed and heartfelt in the second season, and there's a complexity and a vulnerability to them that I just love. There's one scene in the very first episode which I just found to have lots of heart behind it, but it also fleshes out the characters in very compelling ways. Everything with the father's wedding to the godmother feels like it has a lot more depth here. Both of those characters just feel more defined. Also, Claire's relationship with her husband also feels more defined, and we just see how psychologically abusive he is. And then we also get this new character of the priest, and this was just a real highlight of this season. A welcome addition, and the relationship that the main character has with him really works for me. Like, she's constantly breaking the fourth wall, and he's the only one to ever realize it. And it's such a small detail, but my goodness, it just says so much. It's not just a very funny moment whenever it happens, but we see that he is truly paying attention to her. And I love that. And the relationship between the two of them has lots of complexity, and I love the different directions it goes in. And even though the priest may talk like a normal person, he still stands firm in his beliefs, and I love that about him. It doesn't look down on him for it. We come to understand every character, and they're just trying to do their best while struggling, and he's no exception. And I really love how they handled him. And just the way everything ends this season, I felt like it ended on a realistic but hopeful note. And it just reminds me of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which if you didn't watch my review of those seasons, I did them a couple months ago, but the first two seasons are good. I do not like season 3 and I do not like season 4. There's good things about them, but my biggest issue with the show is that you're watching this terrible person be terrible, and they've got it in their heads that she's actually empowering. And it's just like, no! She is a piece of shit. She is a scumbag. She's a terrible girlfriend. She's a terrible friend. She's a terrible mother. And they won't look down on her. While this show does the complete opposite. The main character here feels so fully fleshed out. And just feels like a real character who struggles, and the show isn't like, oh, she's a garbage person, but it doesn't shy away from highlighting her flaws. And there's just something about it that feels more authentic, feels more honest. And it just makes all the difference while you're watching it. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she once again directs and writes this entire season, and she just does it so perfectly. It's such a confident vision in both the writing and the directing. It's walking a tightrope of different tones, but it always pulls it off. It manages to be both hilarious and also emotional. You know, when you're really down, you're in the dumps, and you're trying to hide it from everyone else, and you just disguise it with humor. This show kind of feels like that beneath the funny things happening and all the times it makes you laugh, when you look deeper into it, there's a lot of grief, there's a lot of pain, and there's a lot of emotion, and that all comes through, and it's just so perfect. My goodness. I love good television. I love it. And also, once again, it's 6 30-minute long episodes. I watched it in 2 days, easily. I could have done it in one. And it's just such a well-paced show. The cast all does a wonderful job. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is incredible here. I don't really pay attention to the Emmys all that much, but if she didn't win any awards, then that's bullshit. This is top-notch comedic performance. She also highlights her insecurities incredibly well while disguising it with humor, and she just delivers every line so incredibly well. She hits those dramatic beats, she does it all flawlessly. But I also think Cyan Clifford, who plays her sister, shouldn't be overlooked either. She's perfect. You can see that she's trying to come across like the more put together of the two sisters, while still struggling underneath, and she's just trying to hide it, and you just see all these different layers to this character. Then you've got the addition of Andrew Scott as a priest, and my goodness, I've seen this guy in a few movies and shows before, but he's never been this good. He just feels so human here. He's hilarious, and he's just so charming, and you get the attraction that the main character has with him, and he just brings a certain level of sincerity to him. I think it's a great performance. Brett Gilman, he's great. Like I said, he plays this scumbag husband so perfectly, and the fact that he's just this psychologically abusive piece of shit, and he still finds a way to make himself the victim. He does it so well to the point where you think that he truly believes everything he's saying. And that doesn't make it right by any means, but it does make for a compelling character. Olivia Colman, I think, has a lot more to do. This isn't one of her best performances. This isn't on the level of The Favorite, but nor is it asking her to deliver on something of that level. But she's still great in this show. Bill Patterson is great. We have also got the addition of Fiona Shaw in one scene, which I thought was pretty funny. You've got Christian Scott Thomas, which, when the scene with her was going about, I'm just like, oh, is it going to be one of those overly awkward moments? And it actually turns into a really nice conversation. It's just a very small moment, but one that stood out to me. Jenny Ransford plays Boo. Once again, very little of her, but you just come to understand who she was. That scene where the main character is telling her after the mother's funeral, I've got all this love that I don't know what to do with anymore. And then Boo's like, well, you can give it to me. And then it cuts to modern day, and, she's no longer around. I found that to be very powerful. Like, we've seen this character for maybe 5 minutes altogether, and you just... I think as a character she stands out. Then we've got Hugh Dennis as the bank manager for only one scene. I wish we got maybe a little bit more of him. But you can still see that the two care for each other, and I kind of like that. It makes it feel more realistic that they didn't become best buddies, but they check in every now and again, and I like that. If I had to think of one negative for this season, it's, well, slight spoiler warning, but the sister Claire ends up with this one guy, also named Claire. And I don't think that was really needed for her character to end on that note. I feel like her leaving her husband and having that strong relationship with her sister would have been enough. I don't think we needed that, but I don't know if that affects my rating really, because I loved this season a lot. I think it's damn great. If you haven't seen it, then watch it immediately. I heard great things about this show, and it is even better than I expected. In just 2 seasons, it delivers strong character work, explores the human condition so well, manages to be emotional, hilarious, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. Too many shows going for too long these days. It's nice to have a show that's just 2 seasons in and out and just did everything perfectly. Crap, this was really good. and Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I wasn't that excited for Indiana Jones 5, but now that I know that she's the person who wrote this, wrote that, count me in. Yeah, I love this. I'm gonna go ahead and give Fleabag Season 2 a 9 out of 10. Like, it's so funny and emotional, but when I look at the characters and just how fully realized they are, I think there's so much depth to them, especially with the relationship of the priest and Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character. Do they ever give her name? I don't think they do. I keep saying the main character because I can't think of her name, but I'm not even sure if they ever gave it. There's Claire, there's the godmother. I just realized they didn't give a lot of the characters' names. Huh, weird. Anyways, did you watch Fleabag Season 2? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon. And Gavin